You're watching the KOAO Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, strong winds and fires leave a Yates Center healthcare center destroyed.
Also, 2 Joplin nonprofits merged together in an effort to bring more support to the area.
And we have that high fire danger once again in the 4 states with red flag warnings in place. Take a look at that forecast. Get you out the door coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAO Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Snowy.
I'm Chris Warner. Just after 7 a.m. on this Monday, St. Patrick's Day in the 4 states. Now, we've gone over this, but I can't wear green because of the green screen. I would be invisible. That probably wouldn't go so well. But it is St. Patrick's Day, but it is also on a Monday, so if you are celebrating, celebrate responsibly. And as mentioned, we've got another day with fire concerns, which we'll get to here in just a moment.
Absolutely. Switching on gears over to 2 Joplin nonprofits. They're merging together, hoping to create a future together. Both One Joplin and Active Lifestyle Events are organizations hoping to support the health and safety of the community.
KOAM's Samantha Walker has more on how they're celebrating taking on that under one name.
One Joplin and Active Lifestyles Events met here at Joplin Avenue Coffee House for both a figurative and literal passing of the baton between the 2 organizations.
Merging with One Joplin as one part of their mission fits very well with our mission of health and fitness in our community.
Active Lifestyle Events, known as ALE, is best known for supporting the Joplin Memorial Run, which ended last year. The organization planned on ending as well, until leaders with One Joplin reached out about ALE merging with them to help support their health initiatives.
When we come together, the greatest thing that we have is each other. A community that truly fulfills a mission to meet the needs of its citizens in diverse and meaningful ways through its various talents, skills, organizations, not-for-profits, resources. One Joplin and ALE are showing our community what that looks like in a really practical way today.
We knew that the passion that we brought to the table in our organization the legacy would be carried on in One Joplin.
That belief that health and fitness will be emphasized in the Joplin community for years to come is what made Dennis so excited for ALE to merge under the One Joplin name.
Now with all of the new trail projects, the biking projects, it's super excited to see this community really embracing health and fitness. It feels really good to see our legacy be carried on and for it to become health and fitness to become an even bigger part of this community going forward.
The president of ALE plans to join the One Joplin team this year, further tying the 2 organizations together. Reporting in Joplin, I'm Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
Well, organizers say health is just one area of focus for One Joplin, but it ties into other teams such as poverty and education and literacy.
Certainly a unique challenge that they're taking on, and very important things in both cases there as well.
Absolutely.
Well, something very important you need to know is we do have red flag warnings across the area. So again, we have to stress the importance of no outdoor burning, but it goes beyond that with some other warnings we'll give you. But first, let's take a quick look outside downtown Pittsburgh. Skies are clear. If it wasn't for the wind, it will be an absolutely beautiful day. We just have the gusty winds we got to worry about. Murdoch camera 20th and Rangeline in Joplin looking back to the north looks great as well. So here's a look at those red flag warnings again across the entire area. They have varying expiration times, but the latest go through at least 10 o'clock tonight. And again, no outdoor burning. We've talked about the Yates Center situation. We had that large fire near Carthage, and then down across Oklahoma, 2 things I've never seen from the National Weather Service on their warnings list. 1, evacuation immediate, and 2, fire warning. Evacuation immediate was in parts of southern Norman where people lost their homes due to rapidly spreading wildfires, and then a string of fire warnings all through central Oklahoma on Friday. We don't want any of that. We've got to play it safe. Don't do any outdoor burning. Be careful what you throw out of your car. Don't throw anything out of your car, really. And then if you are driving or anything, make sure you don't have anything that's dragging that could lead to sparks that could start a potential fire as well. We also have wind advisories, parts of northeast Oklahoma. They'll kick in at 9 a.m. and run through 2 o'clock this afternoon. Our southwest winds will be gusting upwards of 40 to 45 miles an hour, and our temperatures well above normal heading into the afternoon and evening. We should be about 60. That's going to be close to our overnight lows tonight. So that tells you how warm it's going to be. 49 is where we are at in Joplin right now. 42 in Pittsburgh. And thanks to the south breeze, which will continue to increase through the morning, we will all eventually warm up. Pretty chilly, though, still Miami, Grove, and Jay. The rest of us, not too terribly warm, but not too terribly cold. Upper 30s, low to mid 40s. And our highs again today heading into the mid to upper 70s. Sunny skies. And a reminder, those southwest winds gusting upwards of 40 to 45 miles an hour. It will be even windier tomorrow into Wednesday, and we do have some rain chances. All those details coming here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, fast-moving winds and dry conditions in our area had fire crews in Carthage working to contain a large grass fire Saturday night. The firefighters say the glow from the fire could be seen from 5 miles away. Winds were reported 15 to 30 miles per hour with gusts up to 43 miles per hour. Excuse me. Now, flames were said to be 10 to 12 feet high. No structures were threatened and no firefighters were injured. Firefighters remained on scene until around 10:30 p.m. And with severe weather season already showing its face in our area, a few Joplin residents took the time to prepare for when those emergencies may happen. The Emergency Preparedness Fair provided individuals and families with the knowledge and resources needed to be ready for emergencies. Presentations were given on how to preserve food, garden, and how to plan financially.
Unfortunately, when you dial 911 because you have an emergency, all of the things have already happened, and the only thing we can help with is trying not to make it worse. And we work really, really hard to prevent fires and to help prevent some of the medical emergencies that are out there by educating people. So prevention is a big part of that.
Now, the Red Cross and Joplin Fire Department were at the event as well. And dry conditions in the 4 states have led to multiple fires in different areas over the weekend. Burn bans have been in effect, but fires have still popped up and spread. Now, one fire in the Yates Center burned down a health and rehabilitation center. KOAM's Mitch Adams brings us more details.
Oh God.
What started as a grass fire outside of Yates Center, Kansas, turned into a much more serious situation. The fire traveled to the Yates Center Health and Rehabilitation Center, where flames quickly consumed the structure.
By the time we got to South Owl Lake, the fire was already out of control. We tried to stop it before it got past a paved road. There's a house back there behind the nursing home, and luckily it was saved. But before we could get anything deployed, we had hoses out and was pumping water as much as we could. The fire jumped the road and got into the cedars, and it went through the cedars so fast that by the time we got to the nursing home, we tried to do everything we could to save it. There was too much. The wind was too much.
Although the fire destroyed the building, all of the residents were evacuated safely and are in the process of relocating to sister facilities. The Mission Health Community Regional Vice President, Nikki Jacobs, says the community came together to support the residents in a tough situation.
They really were troopers. We got them all out fast, and then we relocated to a temporary shelter at the high school. And the Yates Center community was amazing. They surrounded us. The high school kids came down and sat with the residents and talked with them and kept them entertained until we got them to their relocating facilities.
Apart from the residents, staff will also be dealing with the aftermath of this tragic situation.
We're also providing emotional support for residents and staff.
Jacobs says that they will be accepting donations for residents that have been displaced.
And any comfort items that, they might help them feel a little bit more at home. Just supporting our displaced staff who are also affected, and check with our local care communities for specific needs where our residents went. But really just keeping our resident staff and first responders in their thoughts and prayers would be appreciated.
Yates Center's fire chief, Brandon Galding, also thanks the community for their assistance during this time.
It's wonderful how the community came together. All agencies was helping evacuate people. They got everybody out safely.
Mitch Adams, KOAM News.
Now, the Yates Center fire chief said that all burning should be called off and that with high winds, embers can spread very quickly. Now, if you see a fire burning in the open, contact emergency responders as soon as possible. And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up next, Lori Horton is back to continue showing us her recipe for a traditional Irish apple cake. Welcome back. Lori Horton is back with us, showing us her traditional Irish apple cake recipe. Now, we buttered our pan, and you've been hard at work during our breaks. Talk to me about what's in this bowl.
So what I did in between our segments today was I went ahead and got our batter ready to go, because we did take a little bit of a process getting that parchment and buttering our pan, making sure it was going to turn out nicely. So we started with creaming our basic ingredients, butter, sugar, eggs, nothing out of the ordinary. Whisking our dry ingredients. The flour, the baking powder, the cinnamon, salt, all of those things. Delicious. And then incorporating them like we would for any other cake. I just wanted to point out, this is a very dense, like sort of sticky, borders on what you would kind of look at and think of like a cookie dough almost. So it is going to be a very nice, thick, moist cake. So we're going to lightly spoon this into our pan, and again, we started with a 9-inch round. So you could maybe go an 8-inch, but it's going to be a little bit different as it bakes. So if you've got a 9-inch, I would really recommend sticking with that, because it's going to come out just the perfect height. We want to get all of that in there, and then I've got a nice angled spatula right here that is so handy with this type of a batter, because we want to spread it around. It's not going to just naturally roll in there like a thinner one. So I'm just going to push that all the way out to my edges, make a nice even layer. And then we're going to set this aside, because we've got a couple other things that we have to get ready before this is going to go into our oven. So we'll get this all nice and smoothed out. So you can see I've just got an even layer. It's fairly thin. Great, yeah, it just looks like it might be a big cookie or something in there, right? So we do have, if you'll notice our finished one here, we have like a streusel topping on this, which is so good. All I've got in here is a little bit of oats, flour, sugar, cinnamon, again, a pinch of salt, and then about 6 tablespoons of butter. And we talked about in the first segment, since this is St. Patrick's Day, this is a very traditional Irish recipe. We had to go with the Kerrygold, with the good butter. So it is worth it.
Don't want to skimp on that.
Never skimp on that. We are just lightly putting this together so that we get that crumbly topping. We want the butter to be nice and cold. That is the beauty of that Irish butter, is it stays smooth. Even when it's very cold. It's just great. So easy to incorporate. So we just work that together and kind of let it continue on. And then I'm going to set that aside. And I'm going to start on my apples. So a little bit out of ordinary for a cake is we're using a Granny Smith apple. We think of this more as a pie apple, but it's so perfect with the little bit of tartness and the sweetness of the cake together. And I'm just going to peel these while we go to a quick break here in a minute. And when we come back, we'll layer these on here in a beautiful little pattern, even though you're really not going to see them, because we're going to cover it up. It always tastes better when it looks better, right? As my grandma always said, you eat with your eyes first. So it's got to look good. But we're going to layer those nice, thinly sliced pieces of apple on there, and then cover this with our streusel, and it's going to bake for a bit.
All right, sounds delicious. Well, Lori, thanks, and stick around. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 7:18 now on this Monday, St. Patrick's Day in the 4 states. And we've got what would otherwise be a pretty pleasant day if it wasn't for the gusty winds returning out there. We do have wind advisories going into effect 9 a.m. through 2 p.m. across parts of northeastern Oklahoma. Now, it's going to be windy throughout the entire day, but that's the duration of those wind advisories. We do have red flag warnings, though, across the entire region, the latest of these running through 10 o'clock tonight. So we've been talking about the fire situation in our own backyards, plus what took place Friday across parts of central Oklahoma. We do not want that in our area. So again, no outdoor burning. Do not discard smoking materials out of your car, and make sure your vehicle or whatever you're doing outside isn't something that could generate sparks that could potentially lead to a significant grass fire, because that's the last thing that we need around the area today. On to the future track we go. It's going to be breezy, but it's going to be sunny, and it's going to be well above normal. By noon, many of us already soaring above our average high, which is about 60 for this time of year, and we'll be even warmer than that as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. Our overnight lows, in fact, are going to be relatively close to what our average highs should be. That gives you an idea as to how warm it's going to be. We'll have a few clouds overnight tonight. It will be breezy from now through at least Friday, with some of the strongest winds coming in tomorrow into Wednesday. So again, we don't have any red flag warnings at this time heading into Tuesday and Wednesday, but still, outdoor burning is not going to be recommended. Tomorrow, even warmer. We'll have partly cloudy skies out there. Now, we could see by the evening an isolated pop-up storm or two, something that we want to keep an eye on. We're not expecting anything significant, but we do want to keep an eye on that possibility, with better rain chances, slightly better rain chances as we roll into Wednesday. Now, Wednesday, we have a low pressure system off to our northwest. That's what's going to switch the winds on us, and it's also going to bring us our rain chances, but it could potentially even bring us slight snow chances. That's all right, snow. We're not quite done with this yet. We'll have showers possible, scattered showers as we head in the afternoon and evening. Now, again, you can see by 10 o'clock, snow on the future track, but ground temperatures not really lining up with snow. So we'll have to see exactly how that pans out. But if we get cold enough, we could see a few flurries here or there, and then it'll start to warm up again as we head into Thursday. Beautiful sunrise out there, though, this morning. You can see the trees, winds already beginning to pick up. Mid-40s, so chilly start for us. And we're already into the low 60s by 11 o'clock this morning, and thanks to that breeze, it brings in the much warmer air, mid-upper 70s, but again, southwest winds gusting 40, maybe 45 miles an hour at times. As we head into the overnight hours, first our evening, very mild. You can see that it's mid-70s at 6, mid-60s by 10. Few clouds overnight, upper 50s, low 60s, and south winds gusting upwards of 30. And as I mentioned, tomorrow into Wednesday at least, going to be the windiest days that we see this week. We'll be mid-upper 70s once again tomorrow, but those winds out of the south start gusting upwards of 50 miles an hour, and that's expected to be the case again Wednesday, maybe even a little higher than that, because that low pressure system will be right in our backyard, and that'll increase our wind speeds. We'll be close to normal, so cooler, but near average for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Few shower chances on Friday. A little warmer heading into Saturday. Back to normal Sunday, Monday, Tuesday with some rain chances Sunday. And then we're back up to pretty decent temperatures by the middle of next week. That's checking your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Welcome back. Lou Horton is showing us the last few steps to her traditional Irish apple cake. So what's left?
We're just almost ready to pop this guy in the oven. So all I did during the break was I took, and I actually have kind of larger apples here, so it only is going to take probably 2. Okay. Your recipe, when you look this up later on KOMnewsnow.com, is going to tell you 3. Okay. So if you have those smaller like lunchbox apples, might take 3. I just took those, cored them, and peeled them, and then I've made really nice thin slices out of these. So we're going to just layer those in there nice and even. You just want a pretty full layer around on top of that cake batter. So if you want to do a little bit more, you can, but this way they're going to soften up nicely as they bake. Yes. They're going to cut easily, we hope. We'll find out here in just a minute, right? But we are going to have that lovely little crisp bite of that Granny Smith apple in every single piece. And I know I'm thinking way too hard about making these look so pretty in here, because my next step is I'm going to take that streusel topping that we made earlier, and I'm just going to pour this over the entire top. So you're not going to see these at all, but I really can't help myself.
Nice even layer.
It makes my OCD so happy to know underneath there it looks like that. But we're going to pour that entire amount that we made, and it does look like a lot, but you want a good even layer, and it's going to sort of help bind those apples together as well. So we're going to take this all the way out to the edge. And then this is going to go into a 350-degree oven. Okay. Again, your recipe is going to say 60 to 70 minutes. This baked about exactly 60 was all I needed. Okay. And it's going to be a nice golden brown on the top. You'll see our finished one here. It's one that's a little bit different to test. You can't really do a toothpick test or some of the traditional things we're used to doing. So you just sort of have to eyeball it. Okay. But when we cut into this, As I said, we'll find out just how nice it came out. But you want a small slice. You could serve with this a little fresh whipped cream. You could dust it with a little powdered sugar. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
It's so nice. It's a really beautiful dense cake on that. I don't know how well you guys can see that. You can see a little bit of that layer of the apple slices in there and then your streusel on top. So it's so perfect. And again, we think about all of these like shamrock shake type recipes this time of year. Those really aren't terribly traditionally Irish. They're sort of our Americanized Irish, which is fun. Throw the Lucky Charms on whatever.
But why not go traditional?
This is really traditional. And if you'll go down the rabbit hole that I did, I don't recommend it always, but you will find this is their type of cake and the type of dessert you'll find in an Irish household. So it's kind of fun sometimes to look at these things a little bit differently and explore a little bit of those fun recipes. And again, not as complicated as it looks, but comes out very elegant in the end. So kind of nice to have that one in your pocket once in a while too.
Fantastic. Well, Lori, as always, thanks so much. And as she mentioned, this recipe will of course be on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com, later on this morning. Stick around. We'll be right back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:30. I'm Elise Snowy. Well, the city of Miami, Oklahoma got a virtual visit Friday morning from Oklahoma U.S. Senator Mark Wayne Mullen. The Miami City Council held a special meeting to discuss potential opportunities for the senator and his office to assist the city with ongoing flooding issues. Now, the meeting follows years of flooding in Miami, an issue the city attributes to the Grand River Dam Authority and the Pensacola project. And the senator's office heard concerns from the city council and discussed the next steps to resolve the flooding issues in Miami.
That's why I think it's important for us to sit down in the room and everybody put their cards on the table and let's just figure this out. It's important for the people. The people I serve are the same people that Senator Mullen serves.
Now, the city of Miami is also in a civil lawsuit along with 456 local property owners seeking compensation from the GRDA. When large gatherings take place on campus, safety is a top priority. The Pittsburgh State University Police Department plays a crucial role in making sure events run smoothly, from traffic control to crowd management and emergency response. Now, during the NCAA tournament, PSU police ramped up their preparations to keep everything under control.
We prepare all the time, especially in the summertime when students are gone and things are slower around here. So we'll prepare by training with off-campus partners. With ourselves, we train in-house.
Now, Chief Hyde also said that they kept a close eye on the weather as well. Now let's head over to Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
We have another pretty decent day except for the wind. We've got red flag warnings in place as it'll be very breezy. Great look at that sunrise though from downtown Pittsburgh and heading over to Joplin. MoDOT camera at 20th and Rangeline looking back to the north. Looks fantastic as well. So here's a look at those red flag warnings. Again, the latest of these running through 10 o'clock tonight. So as we've talked about all morning long, no outdoor burning. Be careful what you discard from your vehicle, and also just be careful in general that if anything you're doing outdoors that could result in a spark that could start a fire, and it could be very fast moving with these winds that out there. They'll be gusting upwards of 40 to 45 miles an hour out of the southwest. We also have wind advisories from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. in parts of northeastern Oklahoma, where winds may peak a little bit around 45 to 48 miles an hour, but it will be breezy across the area all day, and it will be windy tonight, tomorrow, and into Wednesday. In fact, it should be breezy all the way through Friday, with the strongest winds coming tomorrow and Wednesday. Our temperature is well above average today. Those southwest winds will be gusting again 40 to 45 miles an hour. Average high is 60, and as you can see, we are going to be nowhere quite near that. In fact, the closest we're going to get to our average high is in our lows tonight. Our temperatures tonight about where we should be for highs today. So that's how mild it is. 49 in Joplin, 42 in Pittsburgh, and around the area. We do have some cold temperatures out there still. Got some mid-30s here and there. Most of us upper 30s and low to mid-40s, and we are on our way to highs reaching the mid to upper 70s. Again, sunny skies, a beautiful day except for that wind. Southwest, again, gusting 40 to 45 miles an hour. Again, it will be windier tomorrow into Wednesday. We have rain chances as well. Details on all of that here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, Well, the Pitt State Gorillas had a big tournament over the weekend. KOAM's Melissa Alexis has more on how this impacted the city of Pittsburgh.
The NCAA tournament is bringing some extra traffic to the city of Pittsburgh. I spoke to a local business owner about what this means for the local economy.
Customers are happy, they're going to tip more, my employees are going to be happy.
Heather Horton, the co-owner of Toast in Pittsburgh, is gearing up for the influx of customers.
Schedule extra people just to be safe. We try to make extra of everything just so we don't run out.
Athletes, families, and other people from out of town will be visiting Pittsburgh for the NCAA tournament, and she's looking forward to seeing the new faces in town.
The fact that we get a little piece of that is amazing for a small business to have that little boost in the week, especially right now it's a little bit slower time.
Horton says with many students leaving Pittsburgh for spring break, local businesses often experience a slowdown, but visitors for the tournament will keep them bustling.
With spring break coming, you just never know if people are traveling or not, so it's good to know that we will have a busy weekend.
Spring break is usually a little bit slower for our area. We do have people traveling, but it's usually not for they're not here for several days. However, when events like this, like the women's basketball tournament, does coincide with spring break.
According to Explore Crawford County, Pittsburgh hotels reach more than 100,000 overnight stays a year. And big events like the NCAA tournament can contribute to that number.
It fills up those rooms that normally probably would not have been booked up.
And as for Horton, she's looking forward to cheering on the Gorillas.
It's just good all around.
She says she looks forward to whenever games like these come to town because it's a huge boost to the local economy. Reporting in Pittsburgh, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
Well, Pitt State women's team advanced to the Sweet 16 with a win over Minnesota State Mankato. Gorilla women play tonight against Southwest Minnesota State. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. We'll have the latest from Washington, D.C. as President Trump's tariff wars continue. In Consumer Watch this morning, a new survey from sports betting media company Action Network shows that March Madness could clash with the workplace this year. Now, around 40% of fans admitted they've called out sick to watch the games. Action Network also says fans spend around 2.4 hours per day checking scores, which it says amounts to more than $20 billion in lost productivity. Well, the action comedy Novocaine debuted atop the weekend box office, pulling in close to $9 million domestically. Sci-fi flick Mickey 17 fell to the number 2 spot with its second week with roughly $7.5 million. And spy thriller Black Bag also debuted with around $7.5 million. Well, trade wars are still brewing in a global tit-for-tat. Thursday, President Donald Trump threatened to put a massive 200% tariff on alcohol from the European Union. Sherelle Hubbard has the latest on the financial fight.
I'm not going to bend at all.
President Donald Trump resolute. He says he's not bending on steel and aluminum tariffs, but car repair shops say you may have to.
The main concern is seeing what the domino effect is going to be on the overall cost of price of parts.
America's spirit industry also bracing for pain from the retaliatory tariffs. Trump said he could impose a 200% tariff on alcoholic beverages from the European Union after the EU imposed a 50% tariff on U.S. spirits like bourbon. In Canada, several retailers have taken U.S.-made beer, wine, and spirits off their shelves.
This is a dumb trade war. It is utterly absurd, and we don't really understand why you would pick a fight with your best friend who has only ever been a really good partner to you.
U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick met with Ontario Premier Doug Ford and other Canadian officials Thursday evening. Just last week, Ford said his province was implementing a 25% tariff on electricity exports to 3 U.S. states and threatened to cut off Ontario energy exports to the U.S. After today's meeting, he said the temperature is being lowered and they agreed to more meetings.
We want the best outcome for both countries. We're like a family. And sometimes there's tension between families.
I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
And those are our top consumer stories. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 7:43 on this Monday, St. Patrick's Day. And we have got some windy conditions, and we have that fire danger returning for us today as well. Wind advisories in northeast Oklahoma going to effect at 9 a.m. and running through 2 p.m. But that doesn't mean the wind suddenly stops at 2 o'clock. It will be breezy all day today. In fact, it will be gusty most of this week, with the strongest winds at this point expected tomorrow into Wednesday. We also have red flag warnings out there through at least 10 o'clock tonight. It's across the entire region, so no outdoor burning. You got to mind what you're doing, especially if you're working outside. Anything that could cause sparks, don't discard smoking materials from your vehicle. Anything that could spark a fire, it could spread very quickly. We've seen that happen Yates Center, and then north of Carthage there was that other fire. That outside of our area, as I mentioned earlier this morning, they evacuated parts of Norman, Oklahoma, due to wildfires, and some folks ended up losing their homes, and there were a number of fire warnings across central Oklahoma as well. So we do not want that. So take care of yourself. You're also taking care of your neighbors out there. We got to take these fire dangers very seriously, because unfortunately, as I mentioned, even just in our own area, we've seen how quickly they can get out of control under these conditions. It will be sunny. It will be very warm. It will be a very nice day aside from that wind and the fire danger. Southwest winds out there gusting 40, 45 miles an hour. Our average high 60, and you can see our temperatures going well above that. In fact, our lows tonight are going to be closer to our average highs as we head into the evening and overnight hours. A few clouds overnight, then we'll start to go partly cloudy throughout the day on Tuesday. It'll be warm, windier on Tuesday as well. And by the afternoon, evening, we could see an isolated pop-up shower or storm. Not expecting anything too crazy. Just want to keep a close eye on that if we do see anything out there. Outside of that, we go into our Wednesday, and Wednesday gets a little crazier as the winds continue to increase through Wednesday, because we have an approaching low pressure system. That's why these winds are beginning to turn out there. And that'll bring in very gusty winds like we saw with the last low pressure. That's what brought us those winds last Friday. Winds will begin to shift directions on us, so we'll actually start warmer on Wednesday and the temperature slowly falling back through the day. We could get some showers, and yes, the future track is suggesting even the possibility of some light snow. As you can see, ground temperatures here aren't matching up with the precipitation type we're seeing, so we'll have to see exactly how that plays out. But even if we get some snow, it won't add up to much of anything, and then it'll be gone by late Wednesday night. Got a beautiful sunrise out there though this morning. Mid-40s to start, low 60s by 11 a.m. And again, our highs today, mid to upper 70s across the area. We'll warm up pretty quickly, but it's those winds we got to worry about. Southwest winds gusting upwards of 40 to 45. South winds tonight still gusting to 30, very mild through the evening, hence a very warm overnight, back into the upper 50s and low 60s. As we head into tomorrow and Wednesday, those winds will start gusting out of the south initially on Wednesday. They'll start turning around on us, but we're looking at wind gusts 50, maybe 55 miles an hour between tomorrow and Wednesday. So very warm again tomorrow. Back to near average for us by Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. A few showers possible Friday. We warm up Saturday. Maybe a few showers Sunday. That kicks us back closer to normal for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And we see the return of the 70s by the middle of next week. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Well, a world of entertainment and information sits at our fingertips. Now, our phones can quickly fill those quiet and sometimes dull moments.
But maybe there are some better options. Why exactly do we get bored? Well, that's an excellent question, and Jeff Wagner explores some ways to overcome it.
Activities, stimulation, and plain old fun make boredom hard to find at the Minnesota Children's Museum in St. Paul. Alas.
You joke that one of your kids says everything's boring?
Everything is boring. Like, everything. It doesn't matter.
What does it mean to be bored?
You don't know what to do. There is a pressure to entertain your kids as parents.
Why do we get bored?
Boredom actually is functional. It serves a purpose.
James Dankert is a cognitive neuroscience professor who has deeply researched boredom's impact on the brain.
Its function isn't there to make you bored. It's to push you into action to address whatever has caused the boredom in the first place and do something else, do something better.
When lockdowns hit during the COVID-19 pandemic, some tried their hand at baking sourdough bread. I picked up disc golfing, a hobby that now gets me outside every week, no matter the weather.
It doesn't do the hard work of telling you what you ought to do. It just tells you that you should do something.
Boredom can hit when we have nothing to do, like sitting in the waiting area at the DMV, but also when we're supposed to be engaged in something, like focusing on a lesson in the classroom. Either way, it activates a part of the brain that triggers daydreams, fantasies, or simply going over your to-do list.
I always have a million things I want to be doing.
How do you stop being bored?
I play a game. I play with my Q-mates.
How would you suggest people overcome boredom?
Consider, well, why am I bored right now? Because maybe you can change the circumstance. Maybe you can reframe it somehow.
If a task you're doing feels boring, like cleaning, add a personal challenge, like finishing the job in a certain amount of time. Taking deep breaths can help calm any restless feelings, and creating a list of goals, short and long term, can focus your thoughts in a productive way. If a parent has a bored kid, how should they assist them?
When the kid says I'm bored, underneath that is, and I want you to fix it for me.
Rather than give them suggestions, Dankert says encourage them to make their own list of boredom-busting ideas. The key is to make sure they're in control.
I have a picture on his play cupboard of lots of different activities he can do. So I say, go look at your activity board and see what you can do.
Very interesting.
It is indeed. And honestly, you know, there could be any number of things that lead to boredom. The problem with me with boredom is I eat when I'm bored.
Yeah.
And I eat when I watch TV.
It's the best time to eat was when you're
I
watching
suppose
TV.
Always, well, we're the television generation, you know, that's what we were raised with here. And speaking of television, thanks for watching us this morning. And I've got some information that hopefully isn't too boring for you. In fact, we do have some serious concerns out there with the fire weather again today. Wind advisories in parts of northeastern Oklahoma kicking in at 9 a.m., running through 2 p.m. But the bigger side of this is the red flag warnings across the entire area through at least 10 o'clock tonight. As we've emphasized all morning long, no outdoor burning. We've seen what it can do. We've had a couple of large fires in our area, one, of course, which destroyed the nursing home in Yates Center. They evacuated parts of Norman. Folks lost their homes down there due to wildfires. And so we've got to be extra cautious because you're not just taking care of yourself, you're taking care of your neighbors as well by playing it safe out there today. Outside of that, it's a beautiful day. It's just we have the dry and windy conditions. Temperatures well above normal. We should be about 60. Not going to be near that today. In fact, our lows tonight will be closer to our average highs. Winds will actually increase as we go into Tuesday and Wednesday. They'll be out of the south, occasionally gusting upwards of 50 miles an hour on Tuesday, and then they could even gust a little higher than that on Wednesday with an approaching low pressure system that could bring us a few afternoon showers and, believe it or not, maybe even a few flurries as we go into the late evening hours on our Wednesday. We'll actually start warm Wednesday morning and temperatures will gradually fall through the day on Wednesday. We'll have another look at your forecast and the news you need to know right after this.
And here to check up today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Fast-moving winds and dry conditions had fire crews in Carthage working to contain a large grass fire Saturday night. Firefighters say the glow from the fire could be seen from 5 miles away. Winds were reported 15 to 30 miles per hour with gusts up to 43 miles per hour. Flames were said to be 10 to 12 feet high. And many communities in our area felt the impact of storms and high winds Friday. Oklahoma Highway Patrol suspended the transportation of oversized loads after high winds knocked semi-trucks over. Residents in both Miami and Joplin experienced power outages, and Liberty Utilities said most of those customers regained power shortly after. Well, the city of Miami, Oklahoma got a virtual visit Friday morning from Oklahoma U.S. Senator Mark Wayne Mullen. The City Council held a special meeting to discuss potential opportunities for the senator and his office to assist the city with ongoing flooding issues. The senator's office heard concerns from the City Council and discussed the next steps to resolve the flooding issues in Miami.
And a reminder, red flag warnings across the area through at least 10 o'clock tonight. No outdoor burning. Very windy and warm. Mid-upper 70s, sunny skies, southwest winds gusting 40, maybe 45 miles an hour. Mild through the evening, few clouds overnight. South winds continue to gust to 30. Our lows close to our average highs. Tomorrow, even breezier. Winds could gust up to 50, maybe even slightly greater than that on Wednesday with the approaching low pressure system. We start off warm early Wednesday. Temperatures fall through the day with some shower chances, maybe even some light flurries by the late evening hours on Wednesday.
Well, it's a time-honored tradition in the Windy City ahead of St. Patrick's Day. Crowds cheered as several boats dispersed green dye in the Chicago River Saturday. The city has been transforming the Fayette River into emerald green for over 60 years to kick off St. Patrick's Day festivities.
The Chicago Journeyman Plumbers Union conducts the annual dyeing event, which you can somewhat see here, using a vegetable-based powder which is non-toxic and safe for wildlife. Unfortunately, the cameras they had on board were those old, flip phone cameras, the 2 megapixel and all that stuff. But it is a sight to see in stunning HD.
See it, yeah.
Oh my. Well, yeah, St. Patrick's Day. Make sure you celebrate responsibly. We'll be back with more news and weather today at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.